Hey Jack, this is your video breakdown for October. I'm going to start by just letting it play through your delivery entirely. Okay, so we'll start by just taking you through each of the 5 phases. Okay, so remember the first phase of the delivery is hip load. Alright, so hip load is when we reach the apex of our leg lift. Now, what I'll notice here, I like to just draw a line here on our post leg just to see how we're driving down the mound. So first, one thing I look for is just we want to see that front hip slightly elevated as we make our lateral move down the mound. Okay, so see how your shoulders and hips are both going kind of at the same time down the mound. We want to pop this hip out first. All right, so we should see a slight movement with this hip before our shoulder goes. Okay, and so all I want you to think about is just elevating this front hip slightly so that we're going kind of up this way. All right, so we should elevate that front hip slightly. That way our hip it's almost like we pop our butt out before we make that move down the mound. Okay, so just something to think about. That kind of sets us up in a good position as we go into hip lead, which is where we bring our front foot out in front. That's where our front foot gets kind of out in front of our body. Okay, when I'm looking at these, one thing I look for is what's known as a knee pinch. Okay, we want this knee to track in slightly as we make our move down the mound. Okay, and the reason for this is we want to apply our force down the mound in this direction. Okay, but this front knee has to pinch in order to do that. Now that knee pinch is pretty good. Okay, one thing I want to see that knee go in without going in towards the catcher without going over or past our toes. Okay, we want to keep that knee in the middle of our foot, which forces our butt to go backwards. All right, we want our butt to go back in order to keep this knee over the middle of our foot because that activates our glutes. And when our glutes are activated instead of our quads, we're able to rotate much more efficiently as we drive down the mound. Okay, so that's actually not too bad for hip lead for you. So keep up the good work on that. Okay, as we move farther though down into the delivery, okay, so notice how, watch this back foot. Notice when we lose our heel. Okay, so as soon as we come up onto this toe, all right, we're not pushing off with our glutes anymore. And so then we lose our legs, basically. We're not able to rotate. We're not able to drive down the mound with our legs. So when we get to this point, if you look at the video on the left, it's almost like you're like jumping, right? Neither feet is really connected to the ground. Okay, which means that when we're not pushing off the ground anymore, then we're not using our legs in order to drive down the mound. Okay? So I want you to think about not getting onto this toe early and staying on this heel as long as we can in order to drive down the mound longer. All right, because then we can get a little extra velo boost here. Okay, so focusing on lateral drive drills will be really important because we can get better than this. All right, now this is actually still pretty decent. Okay, compared to a lot of other guys on the team. You do a better job of this than most, and that's one reason why you throw harder, but I think there's still a significant amount of room for improvement here. Okay, so we want to keep this back heel connected as long as we can in order to activate our glutes as we go down the mound. All right, as we get into front foot strike, okay, notice where we're at. Okay, we can tell a lot by where we're at in front foot strike. So here is our center line. Okay, what I want to see, hold on one second. What I want to see is I want to see our head back behind that center line. Okay, if our head's back behind that center line, so like back here, then we're able to use our center of mass, like our trunk. We're able to put that weight behind the ball and throw even harder. Okay, but the reason that your head is shifted forward is because you come up onto this back toe and you're not rotating through your heel or through the middle of your foot. Okay, so if we can work on keeping this back foot connected longer, we're able to keep that weight back and keep our head back, and then we're able to put the center of we're able to use that mass from the center of our body and put that behind the throat, which will help you throw harder. All right. So those are some things to think about as we move through this next month. Really focus on those lateral drive drills. Okay, the other thing is, because we leave this toe early, our direction to the plate is actually going this way, all right, instead of towards our catcher this way. So what happens is our weight is shifting kind of towards the third baseline, and then we have to bend back right here. So see how we have this big bend in our back? It's because we have to compensate for that poor direction. All right, because our direction isn't going directly towards home plate with our lower half, we have to compensate with our upper half, and that's why you have this big back bend. All right, which I think is the reason why sometimes we have a tendency to miss up a lot, like right there. So improving that direction with our lower half will help with this big back bend, which will help with your command. All right, and it all starts with this back heel and driving by activating our glutes and not our quads. Okay, so really got to focus on lateral drive drills for you. Okay, and then as we get into our release, okay, one thing I look for is I want to see this front leg extended. All right, should be a straight line. All right, not perfect, but that's actually better than last month. So I don't know if that's something you've been focusing on, but that's better than last month, which is good. Okay, if you look at all the high velocity throwers, all right, that front leg is locked out as they release the ball. All right, so that's good. So keep working on that as well. Other than that, I think the big thing for you is working on your lateral drive and then just continuing to get stronger. All right, continue to get stronger, continue to put on weight. All right, because if you're able to do those things, you'll see another uptick in velocity. All right, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to either Coach Glover or I, and we look forward to seeing what you can do. All right, keep working hard. Thanks, Jack.